everybody, this is Leah, and welcome to Module 3 of our New Year, New You Reset program. I can't believe we're already in Module 3. I hope the last couple weeks have been helpful for you, and reach out to me. I'll be glad to help you any step of the way. You're entitled to that, and I just want you to be successful. So I'll be happy to talk to you and get you on the right path. But if you didn't get a chance to send me your picture of your food journal, do that, or anything else we've covered the last 2 weeks, I'll be happy to help you with. So let's get started. All right, I like this quote, and it says, "The power of choice means we aren't merely a product of our past or our genes or of how people treat us. They influence us, but they don't determine us. We are self-determining through our choices." I like this because we know through God's help we can do things, but we have to make the daily choices and take those tiny steps, right? What's happened to us has made us into who we are, but it's those daily choices and small steps that's going to get us from where we started to where we want to be, right? And so what is today's agenda? Today's agenda is we're going to talk about SMART goals. We're also going to talk about fats and fiber with nutrition. We're going to talk about stress and exercise and movement. We're going to talk about affirmations and the daily 4. And we're going to talk about your action steps for the next week. All right, so in Module 1 and Week 1, we discussed the importance of setting goals, right? In order to get us from here to where we want to be, right? Many of my clients, and maybe this is some of you as well, you're not real sure how to break down those big goals into more manageable baby steps. I don't know if you've ever heard about something called SMART goals. That's an acronym where you're going to decide on your goal, but it's going to help you determine what you're doing and help you actually achieve it because you break it down into small parts. But in order to do that, there are 5 key parts so that it's not so broad. You know, for example, if your goal is simply to get healthy and you leave it at that, that's way too broad. Or even something like, I want to lose 10 pounds and you leave it at that. That's too broad, right? Or I want to get more sleep. That's too broad. So I'm going to show you today how to break it down. The S is for specific. The M is for measurable. The A is for attainable. The R is for relevant, or some people say realistic. The T is for timely or time bound. So let's talk about those a little bit more. All right, specific and measurable. When we make a goal specific, we are narrowing it down. You are more likely to reach your goal if you do this. And you're going to kind of think of the 5 WHs, you know, the who's involved, that's going to be you, right? What you want to accomplish, when, where, why, and even the H, the how. So you don't want it to be something like, I want to be healthy, right? You want it to be something specific, like I will drink more water. Since last week, we're talking about making sure that we stay hydrated, right? Well, how do you measure, though, drinking more water? If you leave it at that, well, you may say at the end of the night, well, I think I drank more water. I'm not real sure, though. Okay, so you want to say something like, I will drink 6 glasses of water every day, right? That you can actually measure, right? You could keep a simple tally on your phone, in your notes section of your phone. There's water apps. You can just do an old-fashioned tally. One simple thing that a lot of my clients like is they'll put 6 small glasses to the left of their sink, and then as they drink each glass, they put it to the right of their sink. And that way, at the end of the night, they know how many glasses they've drunk, and they can just kind of keep a tally of that. So if you have it specific and measurable, those are 2 keys. Let's talk about the other 3. All right, attainable and realistic or relevant. Often we get caught up in what we think we should be doing instead of going after our core desires and our values, right? So go back to week 1 in module 1 and remember that worksheet where I had you look at where you want to be in 1 year and 5 years. Go back and see that. That's going to help you see what's important to you and what's going to align with your future self. And then ask yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that you're going to be able to achieve it? Because you want to achieve it and you want it to be attainable, right? Now, is it realistic or relevant to you? How committed are you to doing this? Have you ever done something like it? Really be honest with yourself. Do you have the time, the energy, the resources, the money to accomplish this? You want it to be challenging enough so that you're going to be motivated, but you don't want it to be so much so that it totally overwhelms you and you give up, right? So there's kind of a happy balance in there. So say, this is kind of a silly example, but say your goal is you want to climb Mount Everest and you say, I'm going to climb Mount Everest by March. Well, that's in just what, 3 weeks? That's not attainable or realistic, right? But you might say something like, I'm going to climb Mount Everest in 5 years, okay? But in order to do that, I'm going to start small by I'm going to the gym to walk on the treadmill 2 days a week. Okay, so that's definitely better. Now, let's look at the time or time bound one. So in order to anchor and dedicate yourself to actually achieving this goal, you need to have a start date and an end date or a deadline, right? Think about it as having a timeline. When you're getting ready to do something, you kind of are thinking about your time and how you're going to be able to get it done by the deadline. So here's an example. I'm going to hike 3 days a week for 30 minutes each day, beginning March 1st through April 14th. So I'm giving myself a lot of time in there, but I have a start date and an end date, right? And then you might, at that point, once April 14th comes, then you might say, I will begin hiking 3 days a week for 1 hour by April 15th to continue through July 1st. So you're giving yourself enough time for your body to get used to everything, okay? But you do have a beginning and an end date to make sure that you will accomplish this, okay? Now, if we go back to our earlier drinking more water goal, you might say, I will drink 6 glasses of water every day beginning March 1st and going through March 14th. So you have a beginning date and end date, it's 6 glasses, and you're saying daily, so you can easily mark your progress and determine if you've been successful or not, right? And that's the way that you ultimately want to do to build yourself up, to give yourself time to achieve it. You want a date and a deadline to keep yourself accountable, right? And then you can just simply add that to your notes or an app or whatever you're keeping track of. But you want your goals to be written like that, with specific, measurable, attainable, realistic or relevant, and timely or time-based. That way you're going to be able to achieve it, and you're going to be able to see that you're making progress, which is going to further motivate you. Okay, so let's talk about some examples, some nutrition examples of SMART goals. And there's a lot here, and let me just go over a few of them. So I will spend 30 minutes every Friday evening, starting today through April 30th, to meal plan and prep for the upcoming week. So now once a week, that's when you're going to do it. Maybe your Friday evenings, you're going to be at home, you're going to have time to look through cookbooks or maybe on the internet, and you're going to be able to just meal plan. Or maybe you want to say you're going to meal plan and prep and maybe have it an hour. Okay, but that's doable, and you've given yourself until April 30th to do that, so you can keep track if you've done it or not. Here's another one. I will write down what I've eaten in my journal for the next 3 days, beginning February 13th through February 15th. Okay, so maybe you haven't gotten that food journal done yet that we talked about in week 1. Well, you've got February 13th through 15th, which is next week, and you've got a beginning and an end so that you can do it and you can get ready for it, okay? Sometimes we procrastinate I know I've done this, maybe you have too. We procrastinate in setting goals because we aren't sure how to write it, and we don't actually mark it down with a calendar on our calendar and have a beginning and an ending. And I know if I do that, then I definitely am going to get it done. Okay. How about this one? Last week we talked about increasing our complex carbohydrates with our fruits and our veggies. I will eat 2 fruits and 2 vegetables every day for the next month. I'm going to do it February 15th through March 15th. That's easy peasy. You can mark down whether you do it or not. Okay. And let me just give another one. We talked about adding the protein enriched breakfast. I will add a protein enriched breakfast 2 mornings a week, beginning February 10th through February 17th. So it's a limited time. You're not saying for the rest of your life right now. You're limiting it, and then you'll have a start and an end date, and you're going to be able to see whether you're successful or not. And my hope is you're going to see how good you feel, that you're going to want to extend it. But you start off with this little baby goal and a baby step and a baby written like a SMART goal, but in tiny, tiny step. And that way it's going to motivate you to achieve it. I hope that helps, and I hope that makes sense. So we talked about habits, mindset and habits the last couple of weeks. And last week we talked about developing a habit, and it just takes daily practice, right? If you use one of the SMART goals that we just talked about, that's going to help you develop those habits, as well as using that habit stacking technique that I taught you last week. Okay. If you didn't get a chance yet to read that email or look at module 2 video, go ahead and watch that, because I go into a lot of details about that, and it really does help you put it in place. Okay, I like this quote by Warren Buffett. Chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken. So those small habits that almost feel too light and too simplistic and too small, they really are going to help you progress into long-term habits that you don't want to stop doing. So give it a try. Okay, let's talk about your plan. And I think this little cartoon's kind of cute, where the lady's at the doctor and she says, hundreds of years of medical progress, and all you can tell me is to eat less. I know a lot of times that's what clients will tell me. Okay, I want to weigh less. I'm going to eat less. Boom. Well, why haven't you been able to do it? Well, I hope you see that having a plan, you need it specific and detailed. That's going to help you achieve it. That's why I just went over those SMART goals. Okay. So if you do want help in a detailed plan, reach out to me this week. I can't say that enough. I'm happy to help you individually. Okay. And keep doing the meal planning. That is key to your healthy nutrition and your healthy lifestyle. Okay. Okay, so remember, we've been talking about the macronutrients, the healthy protein, the complex carbs, and healthy fat. Today, we're going to dig in deeper to the healthy fat. So here are 3 questions I get asked a lot, and you may even think about it when you're talking about fats. Should you eat fat? Well, isn't low fat better? And does eating fat make me fat? Well, the answer is yes, no, no. But it depends on what type of fat you are actually eating. The key is healthy fat, not unhealthy fat. And even if you eat the right type of fat, you have to eat it in appropriate portions. Okay. And then you won't get fat. Okay, so why should you eat healthy fats? You know, since the low fat movement was so popular when I was in high school, and a lot of people still have that, where they think they need to eat low fat. Okay, well, the reason why we need healthy fats is because healthy fats provide energy and satiety. They keep us full longer, right? They help with self-growth. They help with digestion, nutrient absorption. They protect your organs, and they help keep us insulated and our body temperature at a norm. They also actually help with your brain health, your mood, your cognition, your thinking skills, right? Also helps keep inflammation down, and they even help in hormone production. And one other bonus people don't think about is they provide some flavor so that you're going to want to keep eating those healthy foods more and more. So there's a big difference in the healthy fats and the unhealthy fats. So the healthy fats are the unsaturated, the polyunsaturated and the monounsaturated fats you may have heard about, like the picture here on your left that says healthy fats. And the unhealthy are the ones on your right. They're found in your processed and refined foods, the store-bought baked goods, the high nitrate and processed bacons and hot dogs, French fries and hamburgers, okay? Those are the ones that you don't want to eat, or you want to limit them, okay? Now, here's a list of some healthy versus unhealthy. It might be more helpful to you. So healthy fats are found in things like avocados and avocado oil, olives, olive oil, coconut oil, butter, real butter, not margarine, if you tolerate dairy, fatty fish like salmon, nuts and seeds like sunflower, flax, and walnuts. Unhealthy fats are found in things like Crisco shortening. You remember that? And trans fats like canola and vegetable oils, fast foods, and the processed commercial foods. Those are made with unhealthy fats, and that's what you want to stay away from as much as you can. All right, so how can you eat healthy macronutrients every day? Well, the best thing is to eat a healthy protein, a complex carb, and a healthy fat, plus some fiber in all your meals and snacks. Fiber is going to help keep you full longer, and it's going to help keep your digestion regular. And if you haven't been eating much fiber, those start small because you don't want to be running to the bathroom every 10 minutes, right? Also, when you combine the macronutrients, the healthy fat is going to help you absorb all of those, the protein and the carbs even better. And so that's going to help promote energy, also longevity. They're anti-inflammatory, and it's going to help prevent the premature aging and chronic diseases that we don't want to get, right? And it's going to help you with your metabolism and your weight control. Check out your email this week for some examples, but here are just a few. You could have some coconut yogurt plus some berries and like a gluten-free granola for breakfast. Or when you make a smoothie, make sure that you add like a quarter or a half of an avocado or some nut butter with 1 to 2 cups of some leafy greens and some protein powder. And then for lunch, eat a healthy salad made with 3 to 4 cups of leafy greens, some diced protein with some nuts and berries, and then drizzle with a quick homemade dressing of like a balsamic vinegar and an olive oil and some seasonings. And then grilled chicken could be like this example, this sheet pan meal, which has your protein and some carbs in it. You could add some green beans and even a salad. And all of these are incorporating all of the macronutrients, which is going to help your health and keep you fuller longer. Okay, let's talk a minute about stress. We all have it, and we're going to have it until we walk into heaven, right? But the key is, how do we manage it? Now, stress happens due to that fight or flight system that we have in our bodies that God created, the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. And they were created to help us in 2 different situations. The sympathetic controls our cortisol levels and our breathing and heart rate. When we are stressed, the breathing and heart rate elevate, as well as your cortisol levels, and that's going to allow you to run away from that burglar or to escape a burning car, right? We need that activated in times of crisis, but we don't need that all the time. And unfortunately, many of us kind of stay at that heightened, stressed out state, right? That only causes premature aging and stress-related illnesses. And I know you don't want that. So we want to activate the parasympathetic nervous system more often. We want to slow down our heart rate and our breathing. We want to relax more. That way, we can also calm down and we can digest food. You don't want to be eating when you're in that heightened stress, or your food isn't going to digest properly. Okay. We just have to learn some techniques, and I'll talk about those in just a minute. Stress also affects your sleep. And like we talked about last week, poor sleep causes metabolism issues, weight loss problems. Too much stress and not handling it well can do the same as well. I like deep breathing, even listening to music. You can try the 5-5-5 breathing technique. It's where you inhale for a count of 5, hold for a count of 5, and exhale for a count of 5. And you do that 5 times. You'd be amazed at how much that does help you, even if you do it just a few times a day. Also, exercise and movement is so important for our health, but it really does help with stress management. If you haven't been doing anything, just start by adding once a day, maybe just a 15 to 20-minute walk. And then once you're doing that, you can gradually increase it more often and add a variety and some a little bit higher intensity workouts as well. So self-care is not selfish, right? If you never helped your family, if you just sat around expecting people to wait on you, now that's selfish. But I know that's not you, right? Most of us feel like we're being self-centered if we add self-care to our day. But really, that is not being selfish. You know, God wants us to love him and love others and help others. But he also said in Romans 13:10, he said, love your neighbor as yourself. So if you don't love and take care of yourself, how can you care for others, right? That he has placed in your care. So what can you do? So besides the things we've already talked about, proper nutrition, stress management, some exercise and movement, here's some other things you can do. The daily 4 framework that we've talked about, those can help. Plus doing your affirmations and your Bible verse, getting outside in some sunshine helps, and just doing something that you really like. Here are a couple little ideas. Drinking tea or coffee from a special cup, okay? Sitting outside and reading that book you've been wanting to read. Set your timer for just 5 minutes and try to do that 2 or 3 times a week. Maybe once every couple weeks or once a month, scheduling a time with a good friend to meet for coffee and actually putting it on your calendar. That way you'll do it. These things are not expensive, but they really do help our self-care, which does help your health overall. So I hope you've seen over these brief 3 weeks that your health and wellness is not simply eating right, adding in exercise. It's a connection between all of the areas in your life that affects your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. And by following through with all of these things that we've talked about, that's going to help improve your health. And I hope and pray that you continue to take one small step at a time, but remember to pick a SMART goal and write it in that format, and you're going to get there. Just remember, it's a journey. Okay, so here's a reminder of your daily 4 framework. It's starting your day with a glass of water. You can either infuse it or drink it plain. 5-minute quiet time of some affirmation and Bible verses. Writing down 3 things that you're grateful for, and trying to get 7 hours of sleep every night. And then your action steps this week are your daily framework, and then adding a healthy fat to your protein and complex carbs, just 1 meal each day this week. If that's too much, aim for just 2 meals or 2 days a week, okay? Continue that meal planning and shopping and prepping. Try to implement some of the stress management techniques that we talked about, and adding in some exercise or movement just once or twice a week to start off with. This quote by Tony Robbins is a good one. A pattern that is reinforced becomes a habit. So realize that your pattern is going to be reinforced. And once you keep reinforcing it, it will become a long-term habit. It may not have happened already in 3 weeks, but you keep up and I know it will become that. So I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate everything that um, you've been through, and you've taken time to work hard at. Don't forget that butterfly analogy we talked about before. The caterpillar has to do some work, right, in that cocoon before it can emerge as a beautiful butterfly. You're going to have to do some work too before you can fly, my friend. So I hope that you have a great week. Implement some of these things into your week. And if you need any help, please let me know. So thanks for joining me. Have a great week. And I'll see you in the Facebook group, or I'll be checking on you too. Bye for now.